Hello, this is Blue Star, Defender of Equestria, and this is my Afterthoughts review of Infinite Warfare. Again, it wasn't an infinite success, but it was still pretty good. I liked it. Yo-ho! And also briefly, we'll be talking about the Call of Duty 4 Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, the remastered edition, a little bit later. So yes, it's like I'm gonna try to keep this reasonably brief. I will almost certainly fail. It's the short answer. But yeah, so I think first of all, I didn't actually play Call of Duty Infinite Warfare's multiplayer. I looked at it and it was like, whoa, it looks kind of complicated. And in all honesty, it's like I'm not really interested in playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Well, Modern Warfare is multiplayer either, to be honest, because there's only so many hours and so many games and so many stuff I can play, so I have to basically pick one. So anyway, and honestly, multiplayer is really not my thing. So anyway, and besides, there are way more people out there reviewing Call of Duty Infinite Warfare's multiplayer, and they're way better at being that. So anyway, so I'm gonna focus mainly on the single player campaign for Infinite Warfare, which is, I think, was pretty good. I mean, I will definitely be going weapons free at some point during this video, so I'm gonna start off with the quote-unquote spoiler-free section at the beginning, and then go weapons free at some point. So yeah, overall, I think its campaign was pretty good. I mean, it definitely wasn't perfect. It definitely had its issues, both story and mechanic-wise. I think the biggest one was definitely I'll call it the Starfighters of the Jackal mission, just because the biggest problem is that you don't have a mini-map or radar, so it's really difficult to find where are the enemies, where are the targets. It's like, I remember definitely, it's like I'm just searching for targets. I can't find them, or it's like you can only find them when they start attacking you, and like that's not how you want it to do that when you're a fighter pilot or a soldier general. So you want to be the person initiating the combat, not the other way around. So yeah, that's definitely a big problem, and they should definitely fix that, because but I do actually kind of like the way that they did the Jackal missions. It's almost, in some ways a bit more true to what would be real-world space combat. I do have to say the Jackals themselves, although they look cool, are probably the most unrealistic thing in the game, to be honest, because the short answer is, without going into two things, it's basically a jet fighter that's been modified to fly in space, and it just simply doesn't work that way. It's like the true starfighter is definitely the Star Fury from Babylon 5. This is the long story short. That fighter could actually work in space and anything. But anyway, enough of that. But details. But still, I do like the Jackal missions, because honestly, I am a starfighter pilot wannabe and stuff. So this is almost like the perfect game for me. It's like, this is almost like, if I could design a game, it probably would look an awful lot like this one. I mean, you've got, obviously you're a soldier, you've also got these starfighter missions, and it's pretty good, and I think that overall, I think its story was very, very well done. I mean, it definitely could have been better, but it's so difficult to get into to talk about the story without getting into spoilers. But all I'm gonna say is, I think I will say this: out of my big three, as I've called them, Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, and Infinite Warfare, this was definitely had the least predictable campaign. Definitely. Oh my gosh, yes. Again, it's definitely going to be going weapons free on that in a little bit, I think. But yeah, I mean, I did like the way that this played, because the short answer is that you get a little bit of feeling of what it might be like to be a real soldier and stuff, and like what would it be like to be the captain of the ship, and like what would your crew be saying about what happened on the last mission and stuff, because yeah, a lot of the crew, they don't get informed of what the mission is or what happens. Like, hey, did you hear about that did you hear about that, and stuff like, I hear they took down like 50 fighters when they came back or something. I don't know. It's like, unfortunately, I have a short-term memory and stuff, and whatever they would. Yeah, it was kind of fun to hear that, but I do have to sort of agree that it does get kind of tiresome. You have to keep walking back to the bridge and all the stuff and everything, and if you don't want to do that, then everything. In short, the solution to that problem would have been, if you want to, go back into like the lounge and listen to people talk, you could do that, but yeah, they should have just simply started you off in front of the bridge and stuff. But anyway, yeah, but the campaign was pretty good. I mean, the one thing I really liked is that, yeah, you got to have this most of the customization options that you do in multiplayer. I mean, you got to pick your gun, your optics, you know, your attachments and stuff, and I really liked that. I would have been nice to have been able to pick your camo and, you know, the reticle the way you can in multiplayer, but still, I'm not going to complain too much, because this is just so awesome. This is exactly the kind of thing that I love. I love being able to pick your gun and your optics and stuff. It's so cool. Yes, thank you. So yeah, and overall, I thought the characters were cool. They were interesting. They were some were more interesting than others, and some were kind of cliche and stuff, I guess. But overall, I think it was kind of cool, and I think the cast works well together, and I think it's just really good. The missions themselves, I mean, there's almost sort of two halves of this campaign. The first is sort of the extra missions, where it's like basically board this ship, do this and do that, or, you know, assault this, assault that, the jackal missions and stuff. And then there's sort of the main story campaign, and the thing is that, you know, almost by design and almost by default, they almost have to be, the side missions are kind of disconnected from the main story, and as far as I can tell, don't have any impact on the final outcome. Kind of the sort of the way they did in Black Ops 2, but even in Black Ops 2, it didn't really affect the story that much. But still, but overall, it's like, I still like it. I like it. I think the thing is, like, yeah, people complain, oh, the campaign's not long enough. I sort of agree with that, but at the same time, I don't really have too much of a problem with shorter campaigns, because, you know, we're all busy. We don't have time to, you know, to sit and play. I mean, I enjoy playing the campaign all the way through, from like starting to beginning, and kind of like one sitting. It's sort of like watching, you know, it's sort of like watching a movie all the way from the beginning to the end. And, you know, in some games that's possible, in other games it's not. And I really don't have time to sit and do that anymore. There's no way. So it's kind of nice to be able to have these little side missions where, you know, you could, you know, I think they're like on the order of like 15, 20, 30 minutes and stuff like that, depending on how good you are. I mean, some longer, than like the jackal missions are almost like 5-10 minutes sometimes and stuff. So it's kind of nice. You know what? I just want to play. I'll play one of those and it'll be kind of fun and stuff. I kind of like that. But, yeah, but it probably would have been better to have a few more of the core story missions and things of that nature. So, yeah, but so in that regard, I kind of have to agree. But overall, I'm still reasonably happy with the main, you know, the main campaign and everything. And I think it was overall, it was good. I mean, I didn't really look at the multiplayer, but multiplayer looked kind of complicated and kind of stuff. I don't know. I mean, it's probably okay, but yeah, overall, I think Infinite Warfare is pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect, it's not great. I don't think it's necessarily the greatest. It's not the greatest Call of Duty game ever, but it's pretty cool. So, yo. And now now talk about the remastered edition of Modern Warfare a little bit. It's unfortunate I have not actually finished it and gotten all the way through it yet. Again, there's only so much time, I'm afraid. And in all honesty, I'm not in too much of a hurry to go and complete it, because, well, I've played this game before. I know what's coming. The other games is like, I don't know what's coming. I want to see the conclusion of the story and stuff, but here I know what's coming. But it's pretty, so, you know, I'll get it. I mean, it's definitely really cool, though. But in some ways, not so much, to be honest. I mean, it's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's a remastered edition of a game I already own, so it's kind of like the same car with just a shiny new paint job. But that doesn't mean that it's bad or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, the graphics are definitely better. I think in general, everything is generally better, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, that is just so amazing. Oh my gosh. Or at least that hasn't happened yet. I'm about maybe a quarter to maybe halfway through the campaign and stuff at this moment. So yeah, maybe the few of the really big moments, if you've played the game before, I think you probably know which ones haven't yet come. But even so, it's, yeah, I mean, it's basically, it literally is just a remastered edition, and it's just simply better, sort of. I mean, the things that were kind of, in a way, disappointing to me, these are kind of almost nitpicky kind of things, and yes and no sort of a thing, that, first of all, they redid the mocap. which sort of surprised me. I'm surprised that they did that. I mean, it was like, at first I thought, I'm just overthinking that, but no, there was definitely a scene where this is clearly, the scene was done differently. And definitely almost in a way affects the story a little bit, to be honest. It's like, the scene was, and all parts of me was like, should I say this? Do I have to worry about spoilers of this game or not? Most people who've played this game, most people who are interested in this game, have probably already played it, so I don't have to worry about it. But you know what? All I'm going to say is one of the early missions with a certain Russian, definitely played out a little bit differently, but at the same time, it had the same result as, as before Modern Warfare did. So I mean, so I'm sort of not really pleased with that. It's like, I've always had this thought that there's no winning with these remastered editions, is because, or trying to rebuild the classic, is that, you can't make something the same but better. Because it's a contradiction. You can't do that. You can't keep something the same and make it better, because you have to do that, because you have to change it. So yeah, like the sound effects were changed a little bit. I think generally for the better, but some things is like they replaced the sound of the minigun. No, how could you? Because I really liked that sound effect. That was just so cool. That is just so an awesome machine gun sound. Now it sounds a little bit more like an actual chain gun or minigun actually sounds like. But I think that's in general what they've probably tried to do. I think that the first sound effects were all quote unquote like Hollywood effects, and that they've probably based it off a real gun, but they've made them sound more dramatic and exciting and interesting. Like the first minigun is just like, "Dah!" It just sounds really just loud and crazy, deadly and stuff. But here it's more like da 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 da. I think it's like, again, I've only played that level once and stuff, which is probably more what an actual minigun actually sounds like. But but then again, it's not necessarily bad. I mean, some things are definitely improved. I think like the M21, the sniper, I think that was the name of the sniper rifle, definitely sounds a lot cooler. It sounds a lot better. It sounds a lot more powerful and stuff. Silenced weapons are definitely different. It's sort of, it sounds, I think, more like actual silenced guns sound like, which is sort of nothing. Like the original silenced weapons were a little bit more dramatic. They made a little bit more noise and all that stuff. But again, to me, it kind of, in some ways, is disappointing in some ways, in that I liked those sound effects. I liked the original mocap and stuff, and they basically redid them. So I'm a little disappointed in that. But that's almost in a way nitpicking. It's like generally everything is better, because definitely one way that's better is that there appears to be more going on. Like in the first mission, it's like, it felt, in the original game, it felt kind of empty. There was no one there. Nothing was happening. And here, there's vehicles moving around. There's more. There may have been people in the background. It just simply feels a little bit more like an active military base. And generally, the graphics are definitely better. But at the same time, it's like there's nothing here that makes me go, "Oh my gosh, this is so amazing." So overall, it's okay. So it's not spectacular. I'm not thrilled by this game, but I'm not entirely disappointed by it either. And it certainly is nice to have an updated version to one of my favorite games of all time. Yo! So, now it's definitely time to go weapons free! Weapons free! And hopefully I'm going to try to do this reasonably quickly, because I don't want this video to be really long this time, but again, I will fail. So it's like sort of last chance if you don't want spoilers for the campaign, for Infinite Warfare's campaign. It's like, turn away now. It's like, you have been warned. It's like, because you have now entered the free fire zone. So anyway, yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, I don't remember a Call of Duty campaign ever ending this way before. It's like, I think my overall feeling of this is did I do something wrong? Because this isn't the way this is supposed to work out. It's like, but at the same time, it's much more realistic. It's like, well, we have this great plan to lure the enemy here, but we didn't anticipate that, or they got one up on us, and now we're in trouble. Ooh, it's like that, their grand plan for destroying the enemy fleet, unfortunately, completely and utterly failed, and oh dear, it's like, again, it's like, I feel the need to say this just one last time. It's like, spoiler warnings. It's like, you have been warned. Because it's like, this campaign in some ways makes me kind of depressed, actually, because it's like just about everyone dies. It's like just about every one of the characters involved dies, you know. It's like you get assumed command of this ship, but the ship, the crew, and your headquarters, and the entire, you know, Earth fleet have all been wiped out. Bummer. No. And in some ways, it was the captain's fault. You know, it's like, as I'm playing through this, and in all honesty, and the problem and the everything is, it does feel like, did I do something wrong? Because, isn't this the part where, you know, like, the great plan that we have actually works, and, you know, we have a victory parade at the end and stuff? It's like, no, but still, I'm not saying that they can't do this. In fact, it was kind of good for them to do it this way, because this was, I can't recall a Call of Duty campaign ever coming out this way, and it was very appropriate for them to do this, because it's simply because they have not done this before, and it's like, and it is almost quote unquote the real world way that these sorts of things would work out. It was a nice idea, but unfortunately there was this little complication that unfortunately brought it all crashing down around us, and all that. And I did kind of like the sub-theme of, you know, of the sort of almost way choices and the responsibility that a leader has to have in these situations. Like, you know what, unfortunately the guy at the beginning says it's right. It's like, you know, he's arguing with unfortunately I can't remember these characters' names, which is usually not a good sign. But, you know, but yeah, it's like he's arguing with the captain. It's like, you know, the captain says, it's like, well, it's the job of the would-be captain anyway. He's arguing with him. It's like saying, well, it's the job of the captain to bring his crew home alive. And the soldier says, not always. You know, unfortunately, it's part of a military leader. So sometimes, yeah, you order people in to die, or, you know, and yeah, and sometimes your responsibility is ram the other ship and that stuff. And so, yeah, but that was an interesting point. And again, no, I'm not gonna say spoiler warnings again, because yeah, it's like I almost thought the captain was actually gonna get to live at the end of this for a moment, just for a tiny moment. I thought he was actually gonna get to live, but no, he doesn't. Which I think kind of would have been kind of a bummer. I mean, in some ways, because yeah, I mean, he just ordered an artillery strike on his own position. It's like he should have been killed instantly by that blast, but no, he somehow survives. But I think that was definitely the way to do that, because yeah, it's like he still dies, but he gets to, but the player gets to see that, okay, mission accomplished. They blew up the space dock, and you know, and they managed to get away. But the captain didn't get to live and all that, so oh dear. Which again, in the situation that they put it, wouldn't have made any sense anyway. But I did, I really liked Ethan. Ethan was cool. I liked him. He was awesome. Yo! It's like, he is such a different kind. He's like the coolest like AI robot I think I've ever seen, because he's so much fun, but he's also all business, you know. Because I actually like the reasoning as to why this is because his personality's been designed so that he will basically, you know, fit in with any unit that he's assigned to. Which, if you were going to build a robot like this, would make a lot of sense. I think that's cool. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, so it's like, I'm unfortunately looking at my clock. It's like, oh, I should have known better. It's like, I can't do a brief video on these things. In some ways, there's so much to talk about. Especially since technically there's 2 games in this package, I guess. But anyway, so yeah, oh dear. So yeah. So hopefully just a little bit more. It's like, I really liked Ethan. He was cool. I think a lot of the characters were interesting. I think there was a lot more character stuff going on between all the characters. And in some ways, some of these characters are kind of, in some ways, I was going to say flat, but not really. And there were a few problems, yeah, like in the first, you know, at first, darn, again, I can't remember the characters' names. Not a good sign. But it's like, the black guy, the guy who was basically in charge of the Marines, like, he doesn't either trust and or like Ethan at first, which I guess could be understandable, because he's either fought bots, or he thinks that bots are stupid or dumb and stuff, or he's worried that the bot could turn on him and stuff. Considering that you can hack the enemy's bots and turn them against them, I could understand those points of feelings and, you know, and stuff. And then after the very next mission, he's like, I want Ethan on my team. This seems to not make sense, but when I think about it a little bit more, first of all, this guy's professional military. That, you know what, if you can fight you know, it's he doesn't care, you know, about that. If you show this guy you have the ability to fight and fight well, he's gonna want you on your team, which is exactly what Ethan does during the course of the first mission. It's like he's not a rogue robot, you know, he can actually fight. He's not a moron. He's almost a person. He just happens to be made out of metal. Sort of a thing. So I think that's his conclusion is obviously shown that, you know, he's actually an asset, he's not a threat or dead weight. He's actually an asset, and so he wants him on his team. So that's actually kind of cool. I mean, that is an interesting thought. I think, you know, these are high level professional people, so it sort of seemed bizarre for the captain, shall we say, to sort of have this attitude of, you know, of not understanding that sometimes you have to, you know, make hard difficult choices, and unfortunately do things like ram your ship into other ships or order people in to die and stuff. It seems kind of odd for him to do that, because but it's also perfectly understandable. Except it's like he cares and stuff. I don't want my soldiers to die. I want them to live, but sadly in warfare that doesn't always work out that way. So that's why war's so horrible, I guess. So okay. So anyway, oh dear. But anyway, enough of that nonsense, I guess. But yeah, it's like. But unfortunately, sort of the downer attitude of this mission, again, is like everybody dies, sort of a thing. It's like, it feels like, I mean, at the same time, it's still sort of, it ends kind of good. I mean, it's sort of like, it sort of reminds me of Reach, that it's not exactly a happy ending because everybody's dead, but it's sort of a happy conclusion. That your soldiers didn't die for nothing. It's like, you know what? Yeah, you know, like in Halo Reach is toast, your team is dead, but you know what? You protected but you got the package delivered to the Autumn and basically kept this, you know, basically provided the spark for what would be the Halo franchise and everything. So those Spartans did not die in vain and all that. So, and sort of here is like, yeah, your crew is dead. The entire fleet is dead. The entire Earth fleet has been destroyed. But the player and all the people on the Retribution did destroy this big important space dock and everything, so dealt the enemy a serious blow, so ho. And I do want to say it was also kind of cool to see basically all of these characters, including the bridge characters, almost like, if you want to say the background characters, it's like, oh great, you know, pick up their weapons and go fight, you know, that was actually kind of cool. It's kind of sad that they all die at the end, but they all had heroic ends at the end, so that's kind of cool, but it was still kind of sad, so it's sort of almost a neutral thing. It's like, the heroism is so cool, but it's also kind of a bummer that, you know, basically everyone dies, so yeah. So I'm kind of neutral on this campaign. I definitely like it and kind of dislike it at the same time. So I think, but still, overall, I think it was okay. And it was definitely, I still think it was very well written, and I think it was very well done. So, yo-ho! So, yes. Dear, oh dear. It's like, I will never be able to make a short one of these videos ever. Sorry. But again, there's just so much to talk about. I mean, but again, overall, this game was good. It was awesome. I do like it, and I'm looking forward to going back and playing it again. But perhaps not as enthusiastically as I was hoping for. But still, this game was overall, and it was cool. Yo-ho. So, that is the end of my Afterthoughts review of Infinite Warfare and Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the Remastered Edition. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you for commenting, liking, and subscribing, and until next time, this is Blue Star. Stay strong, and pony on. Blue Star out.